Radhe Radhe. Today is Sunday, 1st May 2022, a third of the year. 2022 has gone by already, new month. And so Mummy and I are here to present a recap for today's Bhagavad Gita study session.
Radhe Radhe.
So as always, we had a quiz that we started off with, and given that we had a break of a week extra, given the CIC inauguration last week, we did have one question that pertained to last week's verses, but also was related to the previous session as well before that. So an important one, we do encourage you to go back and take a look. 5 questions that we covered, and then we got into chapter 5, verse 14, and chapter 5, verse 15. Chapter 5, verse 14, the question that hopefully everyone now has an answer to is there a director or are there directors of deeds? The work we do, we see in Sri Krishna's own words that Sri Krishna does not create the sense of doership or the nature of actions or the fruits of actions. All this is enacted by the 3 gunas, the 3 modes of material nature. We've seen this much earlier, way back in chapter 3 itself, but with each person having a different makeup or framework or proportion of the 3 gunas that helps determine some of their qualities and activities. And so the important aspect is that God has given us free will to choose what work and activities we would like to do, and also how to exercise that, hopefully in that eventual direction spiritually of seeking God, loving God, and being a devotee of Sri Krishna. So we need to then understand that this pride of doership comes up because we have this false identification with the body, but really way back from chapter 2 itself, hopefully remembering that we are the soul and for infinite number of lifetimes. And so the soul inspires work, the 3 gunas make us enact work, and with free will, we will hopefully be choosing much more of virtuous deeds versus sinful deeds. So that's chapter 5, verse 14. Chapter 5, verse 15, we had the simple catchphrase neutral umpire, using Swamiji's cricket example from the commentary. God keeps note or takes account of all of our various work and activities, and following the standard rules in a neutral way gives us the next steps, those karmas. And that's just based on our activities, which again is based on our choices from free will. So again, here we see a lot more description of free will. Machines can't love, but that is because they do not have independence to choose. Mummy will talk to us briefly about this important Sanskrit phrase that we learned today, and we'll see that that again is helpful for us to hopefully go towards a virtuous direction. Again, the important thing we saw also is that once we get away from this pride of doership, we hopefully will realize that, again, as the gunas make us act, we are not supposed to blame God or circumstances for certain results or conditions. In a later verse, we will see much more about now how this ignorance, this inner knowledge that is shrouded or clouded, how that can be dispelled. So that in essence is the summary for chapter 5, verse 14 and chapter 5, verse 15. Mummy, I'll pass it to you.
Okay, thank you, Gagan. Yes, very interesting verses, and it is putting us into a lot of contemplation and introspection. Now we will talk about the Sanskrit word sukritam. Sukritam means virtuous deeds, good deeds. So this is how we will try to make our life better by doing better deeds. How do we do that? We do that when we have this knowledge. And the knowledge is that all the deeds are being, all the activities which we do, all the karmas which we do, they are happening due to our material gunas. So we have 3 gunas, of course. Everybody has 3 gunas. Somebody and everybody has 1 guna more predominant than the other one. That is what happens. And this is all given to us by nature based on our previous karmas. So slowly, we need to try with this knowledge and wisdom, we need to try to improve on our gunas. That is what we can do. From tamo, we move to rajo, and from rajo, we try to move to sattva gun. And of course, in the end, that is the Shuddh Sattva, that should be our goal to reach in at least not this lifetime, but next few lifetimes. And then I want to talk about this new word we learned in this verse number 15, and that is Abhignya Swarat. God is Abhignya Swarat. That means God is supremely independent. God is already omnipotent, all-powerful. God is already omnipresent. God is everywhere. And now God is Abhignya Swarat. He is supremely independent. So what happens basically? Since we are also a fragment of that supreme soul, so since God is supremely independent, we also have some independence. And that is how God has given us free will, so that we can use it the way we want. And now the free will means that we are in this lifetime, we are dealt with different cards. That means with different conditions. Everybody is born with different conditions, with different qualifications, with different gunas. But now how we deal with this play of our lifetime, that depends on our free will, how we use those cards. Somebody may have been dealt with bad cards, but still he may play the game very proficiently and may succeed in life very well. So it all depends on how, with using our free will, we play the game of this life.
Yeah, certainly very helpful, Mummy. And as you mentioned as well, Abhigna Swarat, as we said in class, that appears in the very, very first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So again, stating the real importance of that phrase. And as you explained with Swamiji's commentary also, how then we as tiny souls get a little bit, tiny minuscule portion of those, some certain qualities of God. So that independence, the free will part, we hope we use it again towards more of virtuous deeds and continuing along this spiritual journey. So with that, we'll wrap up. We look forward to seeing you all next week, Sunday, May 8, 2022. It will be Mother's Day in a lot of the countries, so we look forward to that. Till then, thank you very much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.